Hello and welcome to Media Studies A-Level for Educas and its component to Section B, Mainstream and Alternative Media, looking at mainstream and alternative magazines. And the focus for today is on media language and the analysis of the front covers of the set texts. Again, a reminder of the two set texts. Of course, we're looking at Hook magazine, published by TCO London. And that's an example of alternative media because TCO London are an independent magazine publisher. We've got Woman's Realm, published by IPC in 1965. That's an example of a mainstream magazine. And of course, Hook is a contemporary modern day magazine, and Woman's Realm is an historical magazine. So we're going to think a little bit more about how media language and conventions sort of fit together. So first of all, the starting point is that media language, the terminology, is used to identify features of media text. So if we look at a front page of a magazine, for example, we will be able to recognise a name at the top of it, and the terminology used for this would be a masthead. There'll also be words with the articles that are inside the magazine on the front cover. We call these cover lines. So cover lines, masthead, date, line, price, barcode even, are all part of the terminology used to identify the features of media texts. Now, linking these to conventions, once we identify those features of pages, we start to recognize the conventions, so we can recognize the conventions of media texts. An example of media language then, if we look at this, and we've looked at this before in the introduction, as I say, is the terminology used to identify key features of media texts. And of course we have things like the masthead, the cell line, or we can call that the tagline as well. We can see it here. Cover lines, all magazines have cover lines. There's usually a main cover line relating to the main story. We can think about things like the left third, so more important things and features and articles go in what we call the left third, which is the left-hand side of the magazine as we look at it. The reason for that is because of the way we read things, so the reading pattern in our culture goes from left to right, so we notice things first of all, and by the time we get over to the other side of the page, we've maybe lost a little bit of concentration and aren't quite aware or interested in what we're looking at. Of course, we have things like a main image and a dateline and price as well. These are all part of the terminology that is part of media language, and it enables us to recognize the key features of the page. So to take that a stage further, again, when we're linking together media language, because it enables the conventions of media text to be recognized, we can think about this in terms of audience expectations. So conventions are the features of the things that the audience expect to see. So if you're looking at a magazine, you would expect a masthead and cover lines and a main image and so on. So it fulfills the expectations of the audience. And to move that on a little bit more, it enables audiences to categorize media texts. So if we just have a look at all of these, we instantly recognize these as front covers of magazines. Now, why is that? Because conventionally, they're fulfilling the conventions of each magazines, with the masthead, with cover lines, with a main image, and those sorts of features such as the barcode, the price, the dateline, all these sorts of things, and instantly we understand those because of the way we've been brought up that these are magazines, covers for magazines. Now it's different for different media texts, and of course different media texts will have their own conventions. So for example, we might look at these and we might instantly recognize these as film posters. Why? What do they have? Well, of course they've got a main character or main image, that features the main character. Obviously, Black Panther's got multiple characters in there. There's star names, you know, for mainstream films, they'll always use the names of stars. More likely for independent films like I, Daniel Blake, they will use reviews. There's a film company logo if they want the fans to recognise that. And of course, there's billing blocks for the companies involved. And the billing blocks are these, just about to see it on the Black Panther thing, are these things here. And it actually sort of mentions all the names of the companies involved, and we see the billing block here for I, Daniel Blake. There may be additional things as well, depending on the type of poster, such as the release date. And again, instantly we're recognizing these as film posters. Why is that? Because they use the conventions of film posters. And of course, different media texts have different conventions, and instantly we recognize them. Each text as belonging to a particular category, so we know what a print advert is like. So this is an advert from a magazine. We wouldn't get that mixed up with a film poster because it's using different conventions. And again, as another print advert here using the conventions of a print advertising. Music videos have their own conventions as well, even though they're moving image. We understand them. We see images used in relation to a musical soundtrack. Of course, the Beyonce Formation video is slightly more conventional in that it's got lip syncing and a star. The Riptide video is less conventional than that. But everything has conventions, including websites and vloggers' websites as well. So we see the one from Zoella here, and obviously we know it's got a main title, it's got a navigation bar, it's got main images, it's got links to other pages within that website. So again, everything has a convention, so we as the audience can instantly recognize what type of media text it is, and we sort of know how we're going to use that text. So now to today's task, and what I want you to do is use that knowledge we've gained through media language, and I want you to be able to annotate the front covers of the set text. So we've done lots of this before, and you should be quite familiar with it. So Woman's Realm, of course, it's a mainstream magazine, so it uses all these conventions in quite a mainstream way. So obviously there's clear masthead, we see the left third for the cover lines, and I just want you to go through and annotate the key things. Now, Hook magazine is a bit different because it's an independent magazine and it presents alternative media. We can see it's using these conventions differently. So where are the cover lines? Can you find them? How is the masthead a bit different? Even the fact that it's in lowercase perhaps suggests it's unconventional and doing things differently. It has a pull quote on the front. But how does it look different? How does it feel different? So once you've annotated these things and found and identified the conventions on each page, I want you to just write a short paragraph answering this question. So how does Hook magazine use the conventions of magazines differently to mainstream magazines? So really, what makes it look like an independent magazine? How does it feel and look and has an aesthetic of an independent? I will send you this in an assignment to be completed. Thank you.